Hey, Bjorn Peterson, seed advisor in southern Minnesota, south central Minnesota. I'm out here with field agronomist Dale Viktora.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. So, big thing we're doing today is we're at the Geneva show plot. Dale's got a lot of cool things going on over here, Geneva, Minnesota. We also have a choice plot on one of his farms just a mile away, so we're going to be taking a look at that later. But the big thing we're doing today is we're evaluating root structures and just getting a good idea of the architect of the roots and how and really why it matters. So Dale, I'm going to ask you, why do root structures matter?
Yeah, so as we look at it, I like to dig roots at this time of the year because we think about it at VT is when our roots stop growing. Okay, they're at max root growth. So currently where we're sitting at this plot is planted on the 23rd of April. We're on the earlier varieties, our hybrids, we're sitting at about R1 or R2. The later ones are sitting at R1. So it's actually a really good time to dig roots. And what I like to do is when we dig roots, I like to look at it for a couple reasons. First, it shows you how these products can respond to some population, and also I look at them as how we can use them as a placement tool. All right, from looking at just the physical differences in the root masses and structures.
All right, let's see an example. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I'll look at a couple products. So as we look at a product like this right here, and we look at that root structure, it's a little bit more of a narrow styled root structure, but it does have a lot of fibrous play up top. So when I look at a root structure like this, that might be a little bit narrower umbrella, I look at that and I say that product we can probably push population a little bit more, and we like to place it on maybe our little bit better soils, because since it's going to explore that top high organic matter zone more, and it doesn't have a lot of real deep drivers, so that tells us that we want to put this thing on some higher organic matter soils that's not going to be limited on water and nutrients. Now as we look at products that maybe can take a little bit more defense, we look at a product like this and we look at that root structure. It's got a lot more deep style drivers, maybe a little bit more umbrella styled. It probably isn't one that we probably could push the pops a little bit, but I probably wouldn't push them real extreme. But as we look at that root structure, that tells me I can probably put that on a little bit more variable soils and we'll probably be a little bit better off for it. So those are a couple things I look at. We can definitely see some big differences in the root structures here. The other thing that's important to do at this time is in heavy corn-on-corn situations, we want to dig up roots and look for feeding. Here we're on a rotated style acre. There's no feeding. There's none evident, but it is a good time to evaluate roots now for that side of the world too. So that's kind of what we're doing here.
And so also roots play a big part in just plant health in general.
Absolutely.
So what do plant health drivers do for us in regards to eliminating or combating stresses during the summer?
Sure. So as we look at when we think about root structures, if we're limited roots, we're going to be limited water, limited nutrition, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that can be a factor. Now I will tell you that even if we're in a situation where we do have some limited root growth from maybe compaction, maybe we're drying up water, things like that, a fungicide still could help us in this situation, even in a limited root situation, because we're all about mitigating plant stress. So that's really what we want to look at when we think about root structures.
So when we get to identifying seed for this fall, knowing our root structures that are important just from a soil type placement, and then also how we can potentially influence the plant with population.
Yeah, yep, absolutely.
I learned something today.
Me too.
Thanks, Dale.
You bet.